Have you ever stopped to think about how much insecurity steals from you every day? I'm not just talking about that nervous feeling before an important presentation or the anxiety of meeting someone new. I'm talking about silent insecurity, the kind that makes you wake up not knowing exactly what to do, that keeps you busy all day but without feeling like you've truly progressed, that traps you in a routine where you're always reacting to the world instead of creating it. It's the kind of paralysis that doesn't shout, but whispers softly, "Leave it for tomorrow. You're not ready yet. Maybe this isn't for you." And the worst part is that, while this whisper continues, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and you remain in the same place, watching your life pass by as if you were a spectator of your own story. Now, what if I told you that this feeling of being lost, of not being in control, of living on autopilot, isn't your fault? You weren't born this way. Nobody is born knowing how to organize their mind, how to set priorities, or how to create genuine discipline. These are skills that need to be learned, practiced, and incorporated. And here's the good news that can change everything. Experts who study human behavior, personal development, and Stoic philosophy have discovered that you don't need an instant radical transformation. What really works are small daily adjustments, seemingly simple habits that, when practiced consistently, completely restructure how you think, act, and feel. I'm talking about changes that start to take effect in just 72 hours. 3 days. The time between continuing to drift or starting to take back the reins of your life. This isn't another one of those texts promising effortless miracles or selling magic formulas. Here, we get straight to the point. 6 practical habits, tested by those who deeply understand the human mind, that will help you break free from inertia and regain control. It's not about doing everything perfectly at once. It's about starting even imperfectly, even with fear, even thinking it won't work. Because the uncomfortable truth that nobody likes to admit is this: insecurity doesn't disappear when you feel ready. It disappears when you act despite it. So, if you're tired of living on autopilot, if you want to feel in control of your own life, if you want to wake up with clarity about what really matters, stay with me. What you're about to read might be exactly the push you need. Habit 1. Set daily priorities and stick to them. Most people wake up without a clear plan. They grab their phones before even getting out of bed, check messages, notifications, emails, and that's it. The day has already begun at the pace of others, not their own. It's as if you've entered a river of other people's demands and are swept away by the current, responding, solving, putting out fires. At the end of the day, you're exhausted, but you look back and realize, where did I invest my energy today? What did I really achieve that brings me closer to the life I want to live? And then comes that emptiness, that feeling that you're busy, but not moving forward. This isn't laziness. This isn't lack of effort. It's a lack of direction. When you don't define your priorities, the world defines them for you. And the world doesn't care about your purpose, your dreams, or your goals. The world only wants you to solve its problems. Defining daily priorities is an act of rebellion against this chaos. The saying, "Today, I choose what matters. Today, I'm in charge." Here's the secret that transforms everything. You don't need a gigantic to-do list. In fact, the longer the list, the greater the chance you'll get lost in it. What really works is choosing 3 non-negotiable actions per day. 3 things that, if you complete them, will make the day worthwhile. These aren't random tasks, they aren't obligations someone threw at you. They are strategic actions that move you towards your real goals. It could be writing 2 pages of that shelved project. It could be calling that important person you've been putting off. It could be studying for half an hour on a subject that will open doors in the future. The point is, these 3 priorities need to be connected to who you want to become, not just what you need to do to survive the day. And that's where discipline comes in. Because having clarity about what matters is only the first step. The second is to accomplish it, even when motivation doesn't appear, even when 1,000 distractions arise, even when insecurity whispers that it can wait. When you start practicing this habit, something interesting happens. In the first few days, it's difficult. You get distracted, fall back into old patterns, open social media in the middle of an important task. That's normal. The brain resists change because it loves energy conservation, and anything new requires effort. But if you persevere, if you refocus every time you lose your way, something changes inside. You start to feel like you have control. You realize you are capable of directing your attention, that you can choose where to invest your time, that you don't need to live at the mercy of others' urgencies. And this generates a silent confidence, an inner security that comes from proving to yourself, day after day, that you deliver on your promises. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get it right 100% of the time. But you need to be consistent, because transformation doesn't come from a grand heroic gesture. It comes from the repetition of small daily victories. So, before going to sleep tonight or first thing in the morning, grab a piece of paper and write, what are the 3 actions that will make tomorrow worthwhile? Habit 2. Organize your environment. Look around you now, just for a moment. Observe the desk where you work, the bedroom where you sleep, your computer desktop, the number of open tabs in your browser, the accumulated notifications on your cell phone. What do you see? If the answer involves piles of paper, clothes thrown around, objects without a defined place, scattered digital files, and a general feeling of clutter, then you are carrying an invisible weight every day. Because here's the truth that many people ignore. Your external environment is a direct reflection of your internal state. A disorganized space is not just an aesthetic issue. It's a constant drain on mental energy. Every object out of place demands a small dose of your brain's attention. Every unread notification, every unnamed file, every drawer overflowing with things you don't even remember having. All of this creates background noise that exhausts you without you realizing it. At the end of the day, you don't understand why you're so tired if you didn't do anything special. But you did. Your mind worked the whole time trying to process the chaos around you. Organizing your environment isn't about being a fanatical minimalist or having a magazine-worthy house. It's about creating spaces that support who you want to be, not reflect who you were. And here's a delicate matter. Many people keep the clutter out of fear. Fear of throwing away something they might need someday. Fear of letting go of objects that carry memories. Fear of facing the emptiness left when you remove the excess. But this attachment to accumulation is, at its core, insecurity disguised as precaution. It's as if you're saying, I don't trust myself to handle the future, so I'll keep everything, just in case. But this traps you in the past. When you finally decide to clean, when you separate what really matters and get rid of the rest, something magical happens. You breathe better. Your mind clears. You feel you have more space, literally and metaphorically, for new things to enter. Organization is liberation. It's saying, I trust myself to build the future without having to carry the weight of the past. Start small. Don't try to reorganize the whole house on a Saturday. Choose a place, your desk, a drawer, your computer desktop. Set aside 20 minutes. Take everything out. Look at each item and ask yourself, does this serve me now? Does this represent who I want to be? If the answer is no, mentally thank it for what it represented and let it go. Donate, recycle, throw it away. Don't keep it just in case. Then do the same with your digital world. How many apps do you not use on your phone? How many duplicate photos? How many unread emails? Clean it up. Organize it. Create simple folders, clear names, structures that make sense. When you're finished, you'll feel something strange. Lightness. Your environment will be in order, and without you realizing it, your mind will be too. Because external control generates internal control. And when you live in a space that breathes, you breathe too. Organization isn't just about aesthetics or productivity. It's about self-mastery, about proving to yourself that you are capable of making decisions, of letting go of what doesn't serve you, of creating clarity where there was confusion before. Habit 3. Write in a journal every morning. There's a sacred moment in your day that most people completely waste. The first few minutes after waking up. It's when your mind is still transitioning between sleep and wakefulness, when thoughts haven't yet been invaded by external demands, when you still have the chance to listen to yourself before listening to the world. But what do most people do? They grab their phones. They open social media, check the news, reply to messages, and that's it. The day has already begun at everyone else's pace. You've missed the opportunity to connect with yourself, to set your own frequency before entering the collective chaos. And then you spend the whole day feeling somewhat lost, somewhat disconnected, without understanding why. The reason is simple: you didn't give yourself space. Writing in a journal every morning is the antidote to this. It's a practice that seems small, almost silly, but it has a silent transformative power. Because when you write, you slow down. And when you slow down, you see. Many people avoid journaling. I don't know what to write. I don't have time. That's something teenagers do. But deep down, the resistance comes from somewhere else. Fear. Fear of looking inward and finding uncomfortable things. Repeated fears. Worries you've been dragging along for months. Thoughts that control you without you realizing it. It's easier to escape into distraction. Immerse yourself in your phone. Pretend everything's okay. But insecurity doesn't disappear when ignored. It only grows in the dark. When you put your thoughts on paper, you bring them out of the shadows. You transform the nebulous into the visible. And what is visible can be understood, questioned, transformed. Journaling is like an honest mirror. It doesn't judge, it doesn't criticize, it doesn't offer easy solutions. It simply reflects what's happening inside you. And in this reflection, you begin to notice patterns. Every Monday I wake up anxious. Whenever I think about this project, that voice comes up saying it won't work. I compare myself to others every time I open Instagram. These insights don't appear in the rush of the day. They only emerge when you stop, breathe, and write. It doesn't have to be a long, beautiful, or profound text. It can be a list, paragraph, a question. The important thing is to write. Try this. Grab a notebook or open a note on your phone. Set aside 5 to 10 minutes in the morning before doing anything else. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What's weighing on my mind? What do I want to achieve today? What am I grateful for? And simply let the words flow. Without editing, without filtering, without worrying about grammar or what someone might think if they read it. This is just yours. In the first few days, it may seem strange. You might feel like you have nothing to say. That's normal. Keep going. Because the exercise isn't about producing brilliant texts. It's about creating a channel of communication with yourself. It's about cultivating inner clarity in a time when everyone lives in external noise. Over time, you'll realize that this habit changes everything. You wake up more centered, more aware, more in control. And this feeling of being present, of being connected with yourself, is the basis of all genuine confidence. Habit 4. Exercise daily. Everyone knows that exercise is good for you. That's nothing new. You've heard 1,000 times that you should move more, that a sedentary lifestyle kills, that the body needs activity. But knowing isn't the same as doing. Most people don't exercise. And it's not for lack of information. It's for too many excuses. I'm tired. I don't have time. I don't like the gym. I'll start on Monday. Have you ever said that to yourself? We all have. Because exercise at its core isn't about the body. It's about discipline. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable of acting even when you don't want to, even when you don't feel like it, even when every fiber of your being would rather stay on the couch. And that's precisely why exercise is so powerful. It's not just about burning calories or gaining muscle. It's about building inner control, about developing the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. This is one of the most valuable skills you can cultivate. Because life doesn't wait for you to be motivated to demand action from you. Here's the inconvenient truth. Your body and mind are not separate entities. They are deeply connected. When you move, when you force your body out of inertia, something happens in the brain. Endorphins are released, mood improves, stress decreases, focus increases, mental clarity appears. It's not magic. It's biology. But most people wait to feel the urge before acting, and then they never act, because the urge is an inconstant visitor. It appears from time to time, but you can't count on it. What works is creating a non-negotiable commitment. Every day I move. Can be 10 minutes. Can be a walk, some bodyweight exercises, stretching, yoga, whatever. The important thing is not the intensity. It's the consistency. Because every time you move, even without the urge, you strengthen something much bigger than your muscles. You strengthen your self-confidence. You prove that you are capable of leading your own life, that you don't need to wait for external motivation, that you can count on yourself. Start small. Seriously, forget the idea that you need to train for an hour a day or run 10 kilometers. That only creates resistance. Start with something so simple that you can't fail. 10 minutes of walking, 3 sets of squats, 5 minutes of stretching. It doesn't matter. What matters is creating the habit, incorporating movement into your daily routine as something non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth. And on the days when you least want to exercise, remember, those are precisely the most important days. Because it is in those moments that you are shaping your character, proving to yourself that you are not a slave to emotional fluctuations, that you have control over your actions. Stoic philosophy teaches that we cannot control what happens around us, but we can control how we respond. Daily exercise is a living practice of this philosophy. The saying, regardless of how I feel, regardless of external circumstances, I choose to act. And this choice, repeated day after day, builds an unshakable inner security. Habit 5. Limit your use of social media to 15 minutes a day. Social media is ingenious. It was designed by some of the world's brightest minds with a single goal: to capture your attention and hold it for as long as possible. And they're winning. You log in just for a quick look, and before you know it, an hour has passed. You don't remember exactly what you saw, you don't feel better, you haven't learned anything useful. You've only wasted time, energy, and worse, you've become more anxious. Because social media is a minefield for self-esteem. You see edited lives, successes without context, filtered happiness. And even knowing rationally that it's not real, something inside you compares. You compare your ordinary life with the highlights of others. And deep down, very deep down, you start to feel like you're falling behind, that you're not enough, that everyone else is doing well except you. This isn't paranoia. It's the inevitable side effect of spending hours in an environment designed to exploit your insecurities and keep you addicted. Limiting your social media use isn't about becoming a digital hermit. It's about regaining control of your attention. Because attention is the most valuable resource you have. It's through attention that you learn, create, truly connect, and build your life. When you surrender your attention to algorithms, you're surrendering your life. And here's the problem. Most people don't realize how lost they are in this until they stop. Try it for 3 days. Just 3. Limit your social media use to 15 minutes a day. Use a timer. Be honest with yourself. And observe what happens. At first, it will be difficult. You'll feel a strange restlessness, an almost physical urge to pick up your phone, to check, to scroll through your feed. That's addiction manifesting itself. But if you resist, if you let that wave pass without giving in, something extraordinary begins to emerge. Presence. You realize you have more time than you imagined. You realize you can concentrate better. You realize that comparisons diminish and, with them, that constant feeling of inadequacy. 15 minutes a day is enough to see something interesting, respond to those who matter, and stay minimally updated. Anything beyond that is distraction, escape, noise, and you know it. So why do you continue? Often, it's because social media fills a void. When you're bored, anxious, insecure about what to do with your time, it offers an easy escape. But this escape comes at a price. It prevents you from facing the void, processing your emotions, and thinking deeply about what truly matters. Use this reclaimed time for things that truly nourish you. Read a book. Talk to someone face to face. Write, create, plan, or simply sit and breathe. Boredom is not the enemy. It's the space where creativity is born, where insights appear, where you reconnect with your own rhythm. Protect your attention as you would something sacred, because it is. When you master your attention, you master your life. And that's the difference between living intentionally and being lived by external forces. Habit 6. Spend 30 minutes outdoors every day. You were made to be outdoors. Not inside closed rooms, not staring at screens all day, not breathing artificial air conditioning. You were made to feel the sun on your skin, to hear the wind, to walk on the earth, to see the sky. This isn't romanticism. It's biology. Your ancestors spent millions of years in constant contact with nature. Your body, your brain, your nervous system, everything was shaped in that environment. And then, in less than a century, everything changed. You started living in concrete boxes, surrounded by artificial lights, digital sounds, synthetic stimuli. And although you've superficially adapted, something inside you misses it. That constant restlessness, that feeling of being disconnected, that anxiety that has no apparent cause, often comes simply from the lack of contact with the natural world. You don't need more productivity, more information, more stimuli. You need less. You need silence, space, nature. Science has already proven what the Stoics intuited. Spending time outdoors drastically reduces levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. It improves sleep, increases energy, strengthens the immune system, improves mood, and stimulates creativity. But beyond the physiological benefits, there is something deeper. When you are in nature, when you observe a tree that has existed for decades, a sky that stretches infinitely, a river that flows without haste, you remember something essential. You are part of something much bigger. Your problems, your worries, your insecurities, all of that takes on a smaller scale. You realize that you don't need to control everything, that you don't need to have all the answers, that you can simply be present and let life flow. This perspective is liberating. It frees you from the trap of a mind that runs in circles, always worried, always anticipating problems, always trying to predict and control the future. And it brings you back to the only moment that truly exists. Now, start today. Set aside 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be in a forest or on a paradise beach. It could be a park in your city, a square, a tree-lined street, even your own backyard. The important thing is to go outside. Leave your cell phone in your pocket, or even better, at home. This moment isn't for productivity, it's not for checking messages, it's not for taking photos and posting. It's for you to be present. Walk slowly. Observe. Feel the air entering your lungs. Look at the trees, the sky, the birds. Listen to the sounds around you. Touch the earth if possible. Sit on a bench and just breathe. You don't need to meditate formally, you don't need to do anything special. You just need to be there, and you'll notice something interesting. After those 30 minutes, you'll come back different. Calmer, more centered, more connected with yourself. Nature has this silent power of healing, of balance, of remembrance. It shows you that you are not alone, that you are part of a larger cycle, that life goes on regardless of your worries. And this certainty, simple but profound, is the basis of all true confidence. And there you have it. 6 habits. Simple, direct, powerful. You might read this and think, is that all? Yes, that's all. But don't be fooled by the simplicity, because real transformation doesn't come from grand, dramatic gestures. It comes from the consistent repetition of small, intentional actions. And that's exactly where most people fail. Not for lack of knowledge, but for lack of commitment. It's easy to read, agree, get excited. It's hard to wake up tomorrow and start. It's hard to continue on the 3rd day, when the novelty has worn off and discipline needs to take over. It's hard to persist when the results aren't yet visible, when the voice of doubt whispers that this won't work, that you're not capable, that it's better to go back to the comfort of the old routine. But it's precisely in these moments that you define yourself. Not in moments of intense motivation, but in minutes of boredom, tiredness, and insecurity, when you choose to act anyway. So here's the most important question. Are you going to do it? Really? Or are you going to keep this as just another good intention, another interesting piece of content you consumed and forgot about? Because you already know what you need to do. You already have the tools. You already understand the concepts. What's missing isn't more information. What's missing is decision. It's looking in the mirror and saying, enough. Enough of living on autopilot. Enough of letting the days go by without direction. Enough of pretending that one day, magically, everything will fall into place. The day is today. The time is now. And the transformation begins with a single step. Choosing 3 priorities for tomorrow. Organizing a small space. Writing 5 sentences in your journal. Walking for 10 minutes. Limiting social media. Going outside for fresh air. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to start. the life you want, the version of yourself you respect, the confidence you seek. All of that lies on the other side of these small daily commitments. It's not about becoming a different person overnight. It's about gradually, consistently becoming the person you always knew you could be. So, tell me, which of these habits will you implement first? What makes the most sense to you right now? Write in the comments, share with someone who needs this push, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss the next content. Because the journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning. And I'll be here every week, bringing more tools, more insights, more inspiration so you can continue to evolve. See you next time. Until then, be firm, be present, and remember, you have more control than you imagine. You just have to decide to use it.